Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is all about the pharma products, Indian pharma products, and the negative impact at some places because of the Indian pharma products. Any editorial like this will mention those incidents or events, unfortunate incidents or events, and it will also talk about the reasons behind who is responsible and how to prevent. Finally, it may suggest a few solutions or remedies. This is a broad framework, an important editorial in the sense you may get something like this either in prelims or mains as a passage. Anything related to public health. Public health is very important, and pharma industry, Indian pharma industry, Indian pharma industries are doing extremely well. One or two stray incidents should not spoil the image of the pharma industries of our country. And today you're going to work on spot the errors. You're going to work on para jumble. You're going to work on fillers, as usual, words and meanings. Let us start the session with the editorial vocabulary. Not too many words, and many words are quite familiar. What is the first one? Ensure. I'm sure you all know this word, ensure. Part of speech verb. To make something certain to happen. Ensure that it happens. Make sure it happens. Trickle in, it's a phrasal verb, an important one. To arrive or move somewhere slowly or gradually in small numbers. Usually trickle in. It goes with water, water drops. But in this context, it may be related to events or incidents. Trickle in, a phrasal verb. To arrive or move somewhere slowly and gradually. In this context, arrive in small numbers. Aesthetic, a different meaning altogether. But what is the word over here? Anesthetic. Anesthetics. Part of speech adjective, it can be a noun as well. A substance that makes you unable to feel pain. When you don't feel the pain or the sensation, there is another word which goes with everyday English. You have to recollect the word numb. Here the letter B is silent. My fingers have become numb. Imagine extreme peak winter. You go to a hill station, and that there what happens? Your fingers become numb. Means you don't feel the sensation. But this is a medical term. Anesthetic. Do remember anesthesia. That's right. Another form. Either noun or adjective. A substance that makes you unable to feel pain. Flag we have got many a time. As a noun, a different meaning, everyone knows. As a verb, entirely different. It has two or three meanings. To warn or tell people about something that is important or is a problem. Something has been flagged means people have to be alert and cautious. Contamination, contaminate verb, contamination noun. To make something less pure or make it poisonous. Here you have to think or recollect the word adulteration. But the word adulteration goes with food items. Food has been adulterated. Contamination goes more with pharma industry. Adverbs we have got many a time. Part of speech adjective, and now you have to recollect and remember the combinations. Adverse report, adverse publicity. Having a negative or harmful effect on something. Culprit, a familiar word. Who is a culprit? Who was the culprit? Someone who had done something wrong. Whenever there is a crime or something bad happened, we ask the question, who was the culprit or who is the culprit? Ingredient, it goes with the food industry. When you want to make something, the recipe. When you talk about the recipe of a particular dish, you use the word ingredients. What do you need to make that dish? But here, ingredient, part of speech noun, one of the parts in a mixture. Ingredient, singular, ingredients, plural. Substitute, I'm sure you all know, part of speech noun. To use something or someone instead of another thing or person. Someone has to play, but he is not in a position to play, and you use someone else, then he is a substitute. I will do it, wait for some time. Acute, we have got many a time, part of speech adjective, and the combination acute pain, acute agony, severe. If you had a bad If a bad situation is acute, it causes severe problems or damage. Simply remember, acute means severe, acute pain, severe pain. Conduct is a verb, conduct is a noun. Here it has been used as a noun, conduct. Conduct of someone means behavior of someone, a different meaning. Conduct something, organize something, execute something, do something. They conducted a nice program, that's a different thing. His conduct was questionable, a different meaning. Predictable, part of speech adjective. Predict means to talk about the future, tell about the future, guess the future. Something that is predictable happens in a way or at a time that you know about before it happens. You can tell this is going to happen. That means you are able to predict. Offensive has two or three meanings. On offensive, look at the preposition. They have been on offensive, part of speech noun. That means a planned attack, not exactly military attack, a planned attack. Be on offensive. Casualty, whenever we talk about accidents and war, a person injured or killed in a serious accident or war, we use the word casualty singular, casualties plural. Toxic, a familiar word, poisonous, toxic fumes, toxic gases, poisonous fumes or gases. Customary visit, usual and casual. Customary inspection. Custom means tradition. Another meaning customary, tradition or traditional. But in the context of the editorial, customary inspection means casual, not serious. Watchdog, we have got many a time. A person or organization responsible for making certain that companies obey particular standards and do not act illegally. They try to watch and restrict people going off their track. Facilitator, this usually goes with HR professionals. HR professionals are facilitators. Someone who helps to make something happen, someone who helps make something happen or who makes it easier. Let us go to the editorial. Not too many words from today's editorial. Easy words, familiar words, but for one or two. As I said, this editorial is all about the negative impact of a few pharma products across the world. Based on that, this has been written. Any editorial like this will talk about those events around the world and what exactly happened, what is the impact of those drugs, and who is responsible, what is the watchdog doing, and what are the remedies. Safety first, obviously. When it comes to public health, what is the most important thing? Safety. On Indian pharma products and drug safety. As I said, it's all about Indian pharma products and drug safety. But what is the main idea of this editorial? India's regulators must ensure quality and safety of drugs. Something negative happened, and who is responsible? Obviously, the pharma industries. But behind the pharma industries, before a particular product hits the market, we have the regulators, watchdog. They play the role of a watchdog, and it is their responsibility to ensure quality and safety of drugs. They are the people, they have the authority and the responsibility to ensure quality and safety of drugs. So it is at the fag end of the session editorial, this idea is reiterated. India's regulators must ensure, make sure that something happens, to make something certain to happen. Here, must ensure quality and safety of drugs. Two things are important. One, quality. The other, safety. Of what? Pharma products or drugs. What is the stimulus to write this? Reports of drugs manufactured in India causing severe harm and dozens of patient deaths from across the world continue to trickle in. Reports regarding the negative impact of pharma products continue to trickle in. Trickle in means to arrive in small numbers, slowly and gradually. Reports of what? Drugs manufactured in India causing severe harm, one thing, and dozens of patient deaths from across, causing dozens of patient deaths from across the world continue to trickle in. We have been getting the information, though in small numbers, slowly, gradually, the negative impact of Indian pharma products. The latest, based on this has been written. The latest being the deaths of two patients in Sri Lanka who were administered Indian made anesthetic drugs. Latest one being the deaths of two patients were in Sri Lanka who were administered Indian made anesthetic drugs. It is in past passive voice. Just last month, eye drops manufactured in India had caused first incident, this one, so past perfect, had caused. Last month, eye drops manufactured in India had caused eye infection in about 30 patients and blindness in 10 in Sri Lanka. Again, Sri Lanka. 30 patients, they got eye infection and resulted in blindness in 10 in Sri Lanka. While anesthetic drugs made in India causing deaths are a first in the recent past, this is about anesthetic drugs being contaminated and the impact of that deaths. But here it says, while anesthetic drugs made in India causing deaths are a first in the recent past, did not happen in the past, first in the recent past, eye drops causing infections, blindness, and even deaths were reported. That goes into the past. A few months ago in the United States, this is a bit surprising. In the US, with the Atlanta based Centers for Disease Control and Prevention CDC finding a highly drug resistant bacteria in them. The reason behind, they found a highly drug resistant bacteria in them. There are two dimensions. One, deaths because of anesthetic drugs. Another, negative impact of eye drops causing infections, blindness, and even deaths. And this happened in the past, were reported a few months ago, where in the United States, that is a bit surprising, with the Atlanta based Centers for Disease Control and Prevention CDC finding a highly drug resistant bacteria in them. The series of, an important word, the series of, it always takes a singular verb. The series of adverse reports, negative reports, against drugs produced in India began last year when the World Health Organization linked the deaths of at least 70 children in Gambia from acute kidney injury to cough syrups. Another incident, when did this happen? Last year. Cough syrups, they made a negative impact. And where did this happen? Gambia. And this was brought into the limelight by World Health Organization. The series of adverse reports, negative reports against drugs produced in India. When did all this begin? Began last year when the World Health Organization linked the deaths of at least 70 children in Gambia from acute kidney injury to cough syrups. Cough syrups responsible for deaths of at least 70 children in Gambia. And these syrups were manufactured by Indian pharma industries. The culprit ingredient, usually a syrup has ingredients. The culprit usually a noun, but here it has been used as an adjective. Means what? Someone who has done something wrong, responsible for the mistake or for the crime or something bad or negative. The culprit ingredient is a noun, a particular thing, one of the parts in mixture. The culprit ingredient in the syrups was diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol, deadly chemicals, deadly means causing death, used as a cheaper substitute for propylene glycol. They're supposed to use propylene glycol, but instead of this propylene glycol, they used diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol. These are deadly chemicals. They substituted. In a way, it is that resulted in contamination. They adulterated. You can use a word, adulterate. That should never have been found in any medicine. These two chemicals, diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol should not be found in any medicine. Should never have been found in any medicine. Should have been, should have done. This talks about unfulfilled duty or neglected action. Soon after the deaths in Gambia, cough syrups made in India and containing the two deadly chemicals killed 18 children. First in Gambia, then what happened? Killed 18 children in Uzbekistan in December 2022. First Gambia, then this one. In end April this year, Indian made cough syrup was again in the news when World Health Organization flagged the contaminated drugs found in the Marshall Islands and Micronesia. The contamination was identified by the Australian regulator. Another place, three places, one Gambia, second Uzbekistan, third Marshall Islands and Micronesia. And the third one was based on the third one, World Health Organization flagged the contaminated drugs. Flag means what? To warn or tell people about something that is important or is a problem. And this was identified, the contamination was identified by the Australian regulator. Diethylene glycol contaminated drugs have led, present perfect active voice, to at least five incidents of poisoning in Chennai, Mumbai, Bihar, Gurgaon, and Jammu between 1972 and 2020. Oh, long range. 1972 and 2020. Five incidents of poisoning in all these places. The conduct of the Indian drug regulator. The second part of the editorial talks about the role of the Indian regulator. The conduct is a verb, conduct is a noun. Conduct means behavior. The conduct of the Indian drug regulator ever since World Health Organization first raised a red flag in October last year has been on predictable lines. World Health Organization first raised a red flag in October last year. Since then, the conduct of the Indian drug regulator has been on predictable lines. Predictable means what? You know what is going to happen, you predict it happens the same way. Even after serious violations, it gave a clean chit to the company that had supplied the drugs to Gambia. This is really surprising. Even after serious violations, it gave a clean chit. It means what? The Indian drug regulator gave a clean chit to the company that had supplied the drugs to Gambia and then went on the offensive to fault the global health body. Two things here. One, please listen to what I am saying, Venkata Vasu. Listen to the analysis, what is happening right now. Then, first thing, they gave a clean sheet to the companies which manufactured that particular syrup. Besides that, went on the offensive. Offensive here, a planned attack to fall the global health body, that is the World Health Organization. Both are not acceptable. While World Health Organization held its ground, means firm in the stand taken, the drug regulator's stand was exposed. Both took a stand, the drug regulator on the offensive and gave a clean sheet, and World Health Organization uh, pointed out the regulator. But in this context, the drug regulator stand was exposed. Test results from Switzerland and Ghana confirmed the presence of toxic chemicals in the cough syrup sample from Gambia. They found toxic chemicals in the cough syrup sample from Gambia. So the regulator stand was exposed. Also, a detailed casualty assessment. Casualty means what? A person either injured or killed in a serious accident or war. In this context, because of the contaminated syrups. Also, a detailed casualty assessment by Gambia and independent investigations by the Gambian Parliamentary Committee and CDC Atlanta found a link between the deaths and the toxic chemicals. Toxic means poisonous. Means what? These toxic chemicals found in the syrup responsible for the deaths. They found out, except for some customary inspections, customary, traditional, but in this context, usual and casual. Except for some customary inspections, the Indian drug regulator has so far failed to institute measures to make sure drugs produced in India for export and domestic use are safe. Safety is the most important aspect, and the drug regulator plays a crucial role. It is their responsibility. The onus is on them to make sure not only for exports, domestic use also the drugs are safe. Except for some customer inspections, the Indian drug regulator has so far failed. Once or twice they must have done customary inspections, casual and usual, but otherwise failed to institute measures, impose restrictions, and to make sure drugs produced in India for export and domestic use are safe. How does the editorial end? India can continue to be the pharmacy of the global south. India can continue to be the pharmacy of the global south only if the regulator begins to behave like a watchdog. A regulator has to play a crucial role and behave like a watchdog to ensure drug safety and not as a facilitator for the pharma industry. What is the role of the regulator? To be a watchdog. Watchdog, a person or organization responsible for making certain that companies obey particular standards and do not act illegally. That is a responsibility, that is a role. And why should they do that? To ensure drug safety. And they should not act as facilitators for the pharma industry. That will make a negative impact. That's all about this editorial. Let us go to questions based on this editorial. Comprehension skill point of view. First one, what is this editorial about? Public health is important. You have to write about this in brief. That will help, definitely. What are a first in the recent past in the context of the editorial? What are a first? Here today you can see the change. You see the keywords in a different color, and you can easily remember. Based on that, navigate, find the answer. What was the culprit ingredient in the syrups? Some culprit ingredient was there. What was it? What has been on predictable lines in the context of the editorial? Who found a link between the deaths and the toxic chemicals? I hope you guys got it. Try to write the answers, that will help in the long run. Let us go to practice questions based on error exam topics. The first five questions, error location. Don't try to question Venkata Vasu. Sometimes I take, sometimes I don't take. And don't try to question. When the analysis is going on, you're supposed to listen to the analysis. And instead of that, you're asking there was no editorial session, question mark. Not acceptable. Please don't do that. Please read the first one and try to answer. Spot the error. They stepped back at the last moment but are unwilling to give in their clamor for justice. Where is the error? Not back, no. Who is this? Ram Sai. Yes, Naveen has got it right. After that, Varaprasad. They stepped back, nothing wrong. At the last moment, a phrase, nothing wrong. Their subject stepped back, that is a phrasal verb, step back, take a back step, but are unwilling, they, plural verb, no problem. Unwilling to give in, they clamor for justice. Give in means surrender or to yield, but here that doesn't go with the context. Here the correct phrasal verb, not given, it should be give up. Give up means what? Stop trying for something. Abandon. Abandon, too strong a word. Stop trying for something. So give up, they clamor for justice. That is the right, correct phrasal verb. Local body elections in West Bengal, scheduled for July 8th, have yet again brought political violence in the state in the forefront. Give in, surrender, give up, not to continue. Stop trying for something. Surrender, submissive. Please go to question number 2. Local body elections in West Bengal, scheduled for July 8th, have yet again, an important expression, brought political violence in the state in the forefront. No, scheduled for, nothing wrong. Scheduled for tomorrow, scheduled for July 8th, nothing wrong, nothing wrong. No, no, no. Schedule takes a preposition for, scheduled for tomorrow, scheduled for July 8th. You can use on also, depends on the context. You can use for, you can use on, nothing wrong with for. It's a standard combination. Here Rajkumar says to, but which part? There is an error. Here, brought political violence, the clue for you, the verb brought political violence in the state. In the state is a phrase, put it in brackets. Brought political violence in the forefront is not correct. To the forefront. Bring something to the forefront. To the forefront is also a phrase. Rajkumar, if you talked about that, you're right. You got it right. Only one student has got it right, that is Rajkumar. Brought political violence to the forefront, not in the forefront. You can use in the forefront. It is in the forefront. That goes with a different context. Always read the sentence, understand the context. Based on that, you decide what has to be used. Don't go blindly. Question number 3, rather lengthy. It is for all the stakeholders, including political parties, to ensure that the exercise of electing panchayat functionaries do not descend into lawlessness and chaos. To be in the front, to take the lead, to the forefront, to place something in the first position, to highlight something. So many meanings based on the context. Bring something to the forefront means to highlight something, to keep something in the first position, to give importance to something. Brought political violence to the forefront means political violence is in the first position. Yes, very good. I see a lot of students. There is an error in the last part. Here, the exercise. It is for all the stakeholders, nothing wrong, including political parties, nothing wrong. It's a phrase. To ensure that, no problem. The exercise, here ensure what? The exercise of electing panchayat functionaries. That is a phrase, put it in brackets. The exercise singular. Based on that, we cannot say do, we have to say does. The exercise does not descend into lawlessness and chaos. Does not. Very good. Third person singular, negative. Present tense, we have to use doesn't. Question number 4. The dwellings of rural coastal inhabitants must be strengthened, and natural bulwarks such as mangroves at wetlands must be buttressed for improved resilience. So many important words. Naidu, please wait. I'm going to come up with a course. Enroll in that course. Yes, Anusha has got it right. Varaprasad has got it right. Here must be strengthened parallel expression. It is in passive voice. Same pattern must be the verb in the past participle form. Any pattern, passive voice, any sentence, any pattern, the main verb should always be in past participle form. What is the verb here? Buttress. What is the past participle form? Buttressed. Ed should be added. No, no. Must be buttressed. SSED. Must be strengthened. Must be buttressed. That is parallel expression. What is it? Parallel expression or parallel construction, parallel structure. Ah, very good. Venkateshwarama. The more, the less. Under Mr. Museveni, who is in power since 1986, the country has never been stable or peaceful. Exactly. When it comes to English, Ajay, others also, don't have fixed ideas. I always tell my students English has rules, English has exceptions. There are so many patterns, and you cannot have fixed ideas, and then based on those fixed ideas, you cannot decide. You have to read the sentence, understand the context. Based on the context, you have to decide. Here, there is a clue. Since 1986, then we have to think of two tenses, one present perfect, the other present perfect continuous. But here you cannot use present perfect continuous, you have to use present perfect. Based on that, who is in power, not correct. Who has been, who has been in power, that is perfect. Soumya, she has written the complete, that is better. Someone has been in power since 1986. There is an error. Has been in power. Which tense is that? Present perfect. These you can't miss because I have told many a time. Whenever you come across two prepositions, since and for, you got to become alert and read the sentence very carefully. What does it talk about? A situation where something from the past started in the past and comes to the present. Here we cannot use it in ing form. Based on that, you have to think of present perfect. Since 1986, past and present. He has been in power since 1986. Immediately, you can't miss a question like this. You have to answer at any cost. Let us go to based on fillers. Some are easy, some are difficult. Has anyone got all the five correct? Error location. Ideally, you should set aside funds to help you over situations such as a sudden medical emergency or unexpected expenses. Four is good, Ajay. I appreciate. No, not the first one. Three is also good enough. You should be happy. Not come over. No. Oh, you're from Calcutta. Good. Soumya Rana. Okay. Soumya Rana means a boy, I suppose. I thought I saw only Soumya. My mistake. Good, Rana. I appreciate you. One question you got it right. First one to get it right. Here, turnover situations not correct. What does it talk about? It talks about overcoming hardships, overcoming a difficult situation. Based on that, you have to choose the fifth option, tide over situations, not reach over. Ideally, you should set aside funds to help you tide over situations, means overcome situations such as a sudden medical emergency or unexpected expenses. Tide over, overcome. I got it. Go to question. No one has got the who is this Nagaraju has got it right. Only one student. Fifth option, tide over. Go to question number 2. Organization should implement some practices that the army follows. Younger staff with important conclusions. Here, conclusions are different meaning altogether. But what is the right word? There's a clue for you. I will come up with a separate video, Naidu. Wait for that video. You will get all the details. You have to wait for this week. I'm going to come up. Wait for that video. I will talk about the objective. I'll talk about the syllabus. I'll talk about the duration, the time slot, everything you will come to know. No one has responded question number 2. Someone says third and fifth option. It is not the third, it is not the fifth. Ajay has got it right. Organization should implement some practices that the army follows, like what? Like the word like should have been there. Entrusting younger staff with, the clue for you, the preposition with. Experiencing with, not grammatically correct. Nominating with, it is not a post, not correct. Responsible with, no. Giving the power. Supportive with, no. Answer is the fourth option. Entrusting the staff, younger staff, with important works or important conclusions. I appreciate those who have got the second question, fourth option right. That is highly appreciable. Entrust with, exactly. Suresh. This is an easy one. From teaching young students about entrepreneurship, we also provide funds to start and sustain their business for the short time. Question number 3, an easy one. Nagaraj, you first one to respond. Got it right. While from does not make any sense. Whether from, grammatically not acceptable. Further from, perhaps from, no. Apart from means what? Besides teaching young students. Apart from teaching young students. Very good. Go to question number 4. Cost of fuel is the second most crucial for a person's decision to buy a car. Yes, apart from, in addition to, besides. Good, I appreciate that. Ahmed, Anusha, I appreciate. I appreciate those students who have been writing the synonyms, meanings, antonyms, related words. Highly appreciable. This is also an easy one. Cost of fuel is a second most crucial factor for a person's decision to buy a car. Crucial what? Factor. But here, a smart learner, there is one important word, cost. Usually, what happens, I don't know how many of you are doing this. First and foremost, you have to get the answer. Imagine you got the answer. Then don't go to the next question. Now you have to go because it's a live session. But after the session, go back, look at each question, ask yourself, based on this question, what else can I learn? What can I recollect? This is a good question in the sense a smart learner will spend some time on this question after getting the answer. Answer is the third option, an easy one. But why is this important? We have the word cost. Then you have to think of cast. Then you have to think of telecast. Then you have to think of broadcast. Then you have to think of heard. Tell me, why are these one group? What do they convey? All these verbs have the same form: cost, cost, cost. Common error, people say costed, not correct. Cast also same thing. Based on that, we have telecast, telecast, telecast. Broadcast, broadcast, broadcast. Hurt, hurt, hurt. They have given many a time. So a smart learner will recollect and consolidate. That will help in the exam. Go to question number 5. The Green Revolution, which started in the 1960s, helped reduce food security, scarcity, and improve the health of the economy. Improved the health of the economy. Exactly. They come under irregular verbs and they have the same forms: present, past, past participle forms. The Green Revolution, which started in the 1960s, helped reduce food scarcity and improve the health of the economy. Rapidly, still no. How did they improve? Rapidly. We need an adverb. And here we have extremely, you cannot use, though it is an adverb. What is the answer? Rapidly improve the health of the economy. And in the past, they would give parajumbles, something of this sort. So for a change, usually I bring parajumbles, my own parajumbles from the Hindu, but usually from the international magazines. That is a trend. But today, for a change, I have brought from a previous year paper. You should get at any cost. Scarcity, dearth, lack, inadequate. Good. Please try to get this interesting. In the past, before 2017, passages, Tripura Sundari, 4 out of 5. Good, that is good. Try to get the parajumble. Initially, you have to work on parajumbles of this kind. Slowly, you have to raise your standards. Ajay also 4, that is good. You're on the track. You guys are on the track. Since then cannot be the first one. After a while cannot be the first one. In olden days, olden times seems the first one. Hold that. The man cannot be the first one. One day, perhaps, hold that one. They pronoun cannot be the first one. So is it C or E? It should be C. In olden times, there was no system of transport across the desert, and travelers across these vast lands had to face many difficulties. What is a clue for you? The word desert. What is the second one? Second one is easy. Ajay, first one to get the second. After that, I see Anusha. No, Venkatesh Rama. First one is C, second one is E. One day, while traveling across one such desert, look at the pair. Across a desert, introductory sentence, and one such desert. Here, E is the second one. One day, while traveling across one such desert, a man suddenly saw a camel, indefinite article, first time, chewing leaves and thought to himself, what a strange creature this is. Whenever you see an indefinite article, look for the definite article. Those two form a pair. A camel, where do you see the camel? Look for that. He saw a camel chewing leaves. Should be easy. He saw a camel chewing leaves. After that, what happened? When C, E, no, not D, Varaprasad. No, no. B is the next one. After parajumbles, don't be hasty. One shot you cannot write all. That is being hasty. One at a time. B is the third one. He saw a camel chewing leaves. After that, after a while, the camel, first time a camel, second time the camel, quietly walked up to a small pool of water and drank deeply. EB one pair. No, 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 no. EB. All of you, please read very carefully. Don't be hasty. Once you go off the track, you lose 5 marks. Don't be hasty. Here, usually animals, or we have food first, then we have water. Same continuation, logical continuation. Chewing leaves and walked up to a small pool of water and drank deeply. What is the next one? D is the next one. Suddenly the man heard some loud grunts, and turning his head, he saw many such animals. First, he saw one camel. Based on that, here saw many such animals. That is again continuity, heading his way. Then, what did he think? They must be very strong. They can walk for long distances across the desert and survive on some water and a few desert plants. I shall make them my vehicle. So, F is the next one. Since then, the camel, here that the camel means all the camels, it represents that particular species. Since then, the camel transports man and his goods and is a ship of the desert. So, what is the last one? Who has got this order? C, E, B, D, F, A. That is the correct order. I would like to tell you guys, please don't be hasty when it comes to para jumbles. Every word is important. You got to be careful, meticulous, and you have to cross check. One shot, if you can answer para jumble, people will get 5 marks there itself. Candidates will get 5 marks. One shot, not that easy. Anyhow, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but sometimes you have to hold it and be careful. These words you got on Saturday. Yesterday there was no session. I would like to tell you guys, don't question anyone, especially the faculty or the educator. You don't have any right to question any educator for that matter. We are doing this to enrich your knowledge. Sometimes what happens, we may have an important work, there may be a technical problem, we may not be able to take a session. You have to accept it. You cannot ask, there was no session, why? That is very rude. At least you could have said, I don't remember that student's name. May I know the reason, sir? That is polite. Still not acceptable. No session, no session. That's it. There ends the matter. We know sometimes unexpected problems we may not be in a position to take because these are live sessions. Do remember and don't try to question. Mounting means what? Has anyone answered? Increase gradually, to pile up, to build up. Mounting problems, mounting pressure, mounting usually a negative word. Part of speech adjective. Mount can be. Thank you. My pleasure, Varaprasad. And part of speech, mount a verb, mount a noun, mounting adjective, mounting pressure, mounting problems. Yes. Harmony, part of speech, noun. Harmonious relationship, adjective form. Means what? Without any discord. When it comes to the editorial context, people living peacefully. Festering, fester. Agree people. People agree with one another. Fester, festering. Fester verb, festering adjective. Means what? A problem or an issue continues and troubles you. Then we use the term fester. Are you guys still with the second one? Become worse. Not exactly. Continue. A bad feeling or a negative situation continues, then we use a term. The key word here, continue, fester. Flee means escape. It's a verb, part of speech verb. Please write the part of speech that is going to help. Noun, fester again, a verb but used as an adjective. Flee, verb. Clutch. Clutch has many meanings. Here, clutch is a noun, group of people. Very good, small group of people. Perfect. Outfits, many meanings, but based on the context, an organization, a company, part of speech, noun. Who is this? Rajkumar. Camaraderie, very good. Cooperation, understanding. Peddling, peddle, part of speech, verb, can be used as an adjective. Means what? Please mention the number. Yes, sixth one is over. Go to the seventh one. To spread information or stories. Yes. To spread or carry information or stories. Notion, noun. Belief or idea. Perfect. Tacit, adjective. Tacit, encouragement. Based on the editorial. Spreading information or stories or news persistently. Naresh Kumar. Ideas, beliefs, yes. Notion over, tacit over. Tacit means what? Indirect, implicit, implied, understood without being said. That is nothing but implied or implicit. Entrap, obviously, verb. Entrapped, you're in a catch and trapped. You're in a situation where you have to do something unwillingly. You're forced to do something, though it is not your choice. Evacuation, neutral word. Evict, a negative word. Part of speech, verb. Both go with a disaster, rarely evict, usually evacuation. Because sometimes you may wonder how come evict when it comes to a natural disaster. Imagine floods or some other natural disaster. The local people, original inhabitants, or the indigenous people, they may refuse to leave that place. Then we have to use force. Then we say evict, forced to leave, bizarre, adjective, unusual or strange, bizarre dress, bizarre behavior. Trample, part of speech verb. That day also I said usually it goes with elephants, something heavy. Trample. Trample means what? Have you come to, you're still with the 12th one. Okay. Go to 13th one. Tapa 11, forced to leave. Yes, of course, that is over. Then step heavily. Yes. Trample means what? To step heavily. You can also think of the word crush. Hooligans. Hooligans singular, hooligans plural. Noun, obviously. Means what? To cause something heavily. Example, yes, Tripura Sundari. Elephant, typical example. To step heavily on something, yes. Please go to the next one. I have written the part of speech. You have to write the meaning. Pulverize. Who is this? Shushma. Trample, pulverize. Pulverize means crush. There's one combination, pulverizing confidence. crushing confidence. But we don't use in this context. Pulverize usually goes with you take something and you try to crush it to make it powder. Pulverize, it goes more with a different context. Grinding something, hooligan, an aggressive person who tries to damage or destroy public property, resorts to vandalism. Very good. Rhetoric, part of speech, noun. Effective speech or writing to influence people. Yes. Shrine, part of speech, noun, means what? Effective manner of writing or speech to influence people. Good. Shrine, no one has answered. Shrine means what? Someone has gone to the last one. Please do in a systematic way. No one has answered the 16th one. Now I see. A holy place. Yes, holy, auspicious, devotional, sacred, all these words. Demolish. Usually it goes with a concrete structure, a building. Demolish means what? Demolish a building. Yes. You can also think of the word sacred. No one has mentioned that word. Destroy, devastate, damage. Very good. That is over. Go to the last one. Encroachment, noun form. Encroach, verb. Occupy slowly, gradually, illegally. That is understood. That's all for today. I hope you guys have got enriched. Thanks for being with me till the fag end of the session. Have a nice day. Do remember to subscribe and share. Thank you.